also social science. Department chair teaches early childhood education. Maggie Ward is the other co-chair. She's also co-chair for PLO assessment. It teaches nursing. Carrie Nunakawa is the co-chair for PLO assessment and is head of the High Mana group. Eric Ng is the CASLO assessment chair. Oh, PLO is program learning outcome. CASLO is a college-wide academic student learning outcomes. Eric, of course, also teaches English. I'm Jan Moore, the department chair for business and accounting program coordinator. Rosie Vieira is our time people today. She is program coordinator for dental hygiene. We also have Christine Corey-Smith, who's the director of the Learning Center, and Karen Renata, who's director of the University of Hawaii Center. So we have a very broad campus group in our committee. So we've been meeting weekly. We've come up with objectives and strategies. So you have a handout in front of you that shows all the strategies and objectives. And we feel that our goal is to encourage and maintain high-quality learning across the institution. So quality learning doesn't just happen within the classroom. It's across all the campus, so whether it's the ground staff, groundkeepers, janitorial, the O&M, counselors, business office, all that we do has some impact for student success. And so our objectives, kind of broad objectives, is to establish institutional policies that encourage high-quality teaching and learning, to assess and improve the quality and rigor of degree certificates and courses, maintain physical and physical support for high-quality teaching and learning, and to provide support for non-traditional and underprepared students with varied challenges. So in preparation for today's workshop, we went through all the strategies and prioritized the strategies, those budget strategies, through the lens of quality learning. So Julie's going to talk about the 4 main strategies that we have put emphasize, we've grouped it up, that we would like for you to consider through this lens of quality learning.
Okay, so the first thing I want to ask you to do is, if you have some questions for us or comments, if you would jot a note for yourself, and we've saved a little time at the end to be able to do that. We have only a couple of new priority requests. Most of what we're going to talk about has already shown up in the budget request of another group, and I just made that, so I can't get my glasses on. Oh. And this is what I go through when I teach on Skybridge, and I just broke the clip, so I'm just going to hold it. Okay, so the first one is not a new budget request. And what we are doing is we are supporting the faculty and staff recommendations that were made by other vice chancellors. We also didn't even go through the list and say these are positions we think should be filled, these are not. They've already been vetted through a lot of groups. We didn't feel like it was our responsibility to do that. One of the lenses we did want to suggest you look at, you will see in budget information there is a part on faculty positions that say lecturer conversion. And while those do take position count, so we do have a limited number of people we can hire, they won't have a negative impact on the budget. So we were suggesting that you might have a look at it through that lens. And the reason that we're focusing on this one, John already mentioned, and that is it's a priority of WASC that we have in our full-time faculty. The other piece we wanted to emphasize is that faculty are not the only employees that have an impact on quality learning. And look at staff. And we can have the best faculty and teaching faculty and counselors and all in the world, but if we don't have staff support, it's going to have a negative impact on student quality learning. Okay, let's see how this works. Now I'm using the computer. Which is the next one? There's number 2. Okay, so many pieces of paper at the same time. So our next one is a request that you haven't seen before, and it's number 50 on your sheet. Our priority is to provide high-quality distance learning and outreach opportunities for students using assessment practices that ensure parity with classroom-based learning. And this is one of the things that WASC has said is part of best practice. Right now, there is some course release through a grant for a faculty member to do some training for new people teaching through distance. And one of the things we want to emphasize is distance doesn't just mean online. It also means kids or Skybridge. It also means cable. It also means hybrid. So we have some temporary money for training people, but what we don't have is a system for assessing whether there is parity. So if a student takes a class in a traditional classroom setting versus hybrid or online, are they getting the same quality learning in that class? So we're recommending that the person who gets some course release for this is also helping to create a system for assessing that and then keeping the data so we know whether that's happening or not. Okay, number 3 is right there. Okay. This is also is not a new request. You will find this one is number 21. Maintain functional technology, equipment, and furniture. I don't say. Oh, you're going to come in and help. Okay, good. Come in and help. Maintain functional technology, equipment, and furniture in classrooms and other learning spaces. Even though we know a lot of our classroom furniture and other things are not conducive to learning in a lot of our settings, we didn't think in this limited budget year this was the time to ask for all of this. So what we are supporting is that request for consistent turnover of office computers. There is money for classroom computers through the student tech fee, but nothing for faculty or staff. And as a department chair, I have offices that have no functional computers. And if I need a functional computer, I have to find money in our tiny little department budget. And this has not always been true in the past. We had a regular system of turning them over. And this is true for all departments at this point. Okay, now the next one, so that one over there. This is also not new. This is supporting recommendations made elsewhere. Consolidate and coordinate academic support services to expand access for students. The first one that we are asking for is number 27 on your list, and that is online databases for the library. The library had funds cut. They had to eliminate some online journals, and this especially impacts distance students who don't have access to those anymore. So we are supporting getting that money put back into the library's budget. And the other is number 22, which is the online tutoring services, and that is the brain fuse and things you've heard about before. So I'm going to open this up to questions in a minute, but what we are going to ask you to do is to rank the quality of learning strategies you think the committee and campus should focus on in order to encourage learning. Because we've been focusing on the budget, but Our committee is going to continue working over the next year, and we want some feedback about where we should be putting our time and energy. Some of these things don't affect budget, but affect other things. So what we're asking you to do is look at that list, and you will see Objective 1, Strategy D. Let's say that's something you might pull those sheets apart, might make it easier. What do you think are the highest, most important things for us to be working on first? Write just those numbers and letters down, and then lowest. Lowest could be, you think that's inappropriate, or it could be, that's great. If you get to that, that's wonderful, but I wouldn't put my energy into that over the next year. And then if you have any comments for us. Any questions before we leave you to your wild Halloween?